Hello and welcome to Printing 3D Ventures. This is a YouTube channel about 3D printing, and right now it is with the Bambu Lab A1 with AMS and the Elegoo Neptune Pro 4 3D printers and my experience with them. Later down the road we'll probably be adding other printers, but for right now this video is strictly about these two printers. And one reason I want to make this video is in a lot of the groups, one of the number one questions being asked right now, I guess because we're getting so close to Christmas, is which 3D printer do you recommend? Now there's a bunch of 3D printers and I can only talk about the two I have here. And if that's all you're interested in is opinion of what's the best 3D printer to get a beginner or my child for Christmas or my spouse for Christmas, I'll tell you right now it's going to be the Bambu Labs A1 with or without the AMS, because the Elegoo doesn't have AMS hooked up to it. We single row print, and you can do the exact same thing with the Bambu Lab. You don't have to buy this to print with it. Why do I say the Bambu A1? Simplicity, zero issues. The app that goes along with it, I can download Bambu Handy to my cell phone, pull it up, I can find a print that I like. Oh wow, that's cute. Prepare to print, send it to my printer. Once I know I have my filament colors picked out, what I want to do there, you know, depending on if it's multicolor print, if with the AMS, or just a single print, which is a single print. I'll hit next, and it'll pull up my printer when it's online. You have to have it turned on, hooked up. It's hooked up to my Wi-Fi network. And you know, if I want to use AMS, I can enable it, or you use an external spool, which is just up on top, would be the external spool, which I would use my AMS. And then hit start print. It's going to send it to the printer here and get everything ready. It'll go through some procedures and it'll start to print. That simple. If I want to print this same print, I can use the Bambu Studio on the PC, which is kind of the same thing as this. I'll find this print, and let me grab y'all and just kind of show you the computer part of it. Okay, I've actually got y'all sitting in front of me, so hopefully my arms are long enough to do this. These are actually some prints here where it says recently opened that I've already printed. I printed this one on the Bambu A1. I printed this one on the Elegoo Neptune 4. These two, actually these three, I printed on the Bambu A1. I could have printed all this on the Elegoo printer also. I don't remember if this was the one. Some of these bookmarks, it'll say lay down white, and it'll get all the white laid down, and then you could actually stop it, pause it, and then swap your filament to the red, and then it print all the red. I don't think this one was one like that. I used the AMS and it automatically, you know, swapped the colors for me. But this was what I was playing around with earlier. I said, well, I'll just print this as an example for the A1. So I click on it on this app and it pulls this up, and okay, we got the A1 right there. There's different profiles. This is the original designer's profile, and we would hit download and open. Okay, so it's pulling it over. It takes just a minute to get the 3MF file on your plate. This is say the plate on your printer. and there is what they have. And if you notice up here, it says Bambu Lab A1. So I have that on there. And you have tabs over here: quality, strength, speed, supports. Oh, that's probably going to need some supports because you can't print on air. You got the ear here and this horn up here. So, you know, you can't lay down filament in thin air. So you're going to have to come over here. There's supports, and they're already enabled. We have trees. You click that down tab, and you've got normal, which is the old style supports. You got trees, manual, where you can go in there and place them where you want it. Same with the trees, you can place them where you want it. But also, say if you choose trees auto, you can come down here, there's default, and you click on default, and you've got slim trees, strong trees, hybrid trees, organic trees, so different type trees. I've actually been having some issues with the default trees breaking off. So lately, if I'm using trees, I'll go ahead and use the strong tree. And, you know, there's just more to them. It really depends on the print. You'll learn that stuff as you advance in 3D printing. Some stuff that I've just had all kinds of issues with, if it's with the supports, I'll just use the normal supports and let it do that. But say we really don't have that much here to worry about, so we could use trees, and we'll just use the default for now. And we've chosen that the bottom of the support will only be on the build plate. You can choose, say there was something, if I spin this around, say this was way in from the print, say his hip was way out here. If you wanted to, if you unchecked build plate only, it would actually put the bottom of the tree on his hip and go up and support wherever's up here. But we don't need to do that, so we just default trees, just for showing you how this kind of works. You can support critical regions only, and you can remove small overhangs if you need to. Stuff that really don't make much difference, so you're not having extra supports there. You can add rafts. A raft is a layer underneath this, and it'll hold it down to the plate better, and you break it off, you know, when the print's done. But there's all kinds of stuff that you learn to get your prints right. But like if you're using AMS, we only have 4 situations here, so we're going to remove, and then you can choose what you're using. We're using generic PLA on all of ours right now. Then you can go right here, and on number 1 I have the color black, so it's already checked. Okay. On the second spool, and the spools are labeled on the AMS, it's red, so you would choose red. Let's see if I can find a red or red. Here's red. Yeah, okay. Number 3 I have white, and in number 4 we have purple. So that tells everything what colors you have where and what type of filament you're using. And then you would just come over here and hit slice plate. Now what that's going to do is it's going to kind of check everything out, generate the walls, put the trees on there where they need supported. And like I said, if you're using Bambu Handy from your phone, you just can pretty much choose what you want and hit click. If everything looks okay and you think it's going to print okay, so you don't have to worry about it. But this is if you're wanting to change the tree types, and maybe you don't have the app, you're just using the PC. This is how you'd go about getting your print to your printer. But as you can see down here, it's slicing it and generating supports. And up here it says Bambu Lab A1. That's the printer that we're working with right now. But I'm going to show you how this same system program will work for the Elegoo too. So we're sliced. I'm up here in this box. We're going to change from filament to line type, and it's going to change the colors. And you can see where it added supports. All the green are supports that's holding stuff up. And basically, like you see, let's go here. The distance is in between the supports. The filament, the machine will be able to lay the line on top of that. And then when you get it printed, you just break these off because it's barely attached on the line there. And that's how you print. You're not printing on air, you're actually printing on top of the trees. And it's supporting regions that they think need support. And that looks pretty good to me. But on line type, different colors, you can look over here in this box and it tells you all your information. So if I wanted to print that, I would go back up here and hit print plate. And now you can see the Bambu Lab A1 here in the center. And it's that's if we were just going to print it on the one slot, it'd be black. If we wanted to choose purple, we could change it. And then we would hit send, and through the Wi-Fi it would send it to the printer and it would start printing. But we don't want to print that right now. So let's go back. We're in preview here. Let's go back to prepare. We have the same figure, but we don't want to print it on the Bambu Lab A1. We want to print it on the Elegoo. So this program, you can go in and set several different printers that it'll work with. So we choose our Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro, and you see it changed the plate. It says Elegoo on the plate. And we don't have but one filament that we're going to be able to use. So we're just going to take all that out. And I don't even have to worry about the color, because whatever color's on there is what color it's going to be. But I got yellow on there right now. So we can see the figure better in yellow. Same with the supports. You know, they're already chose. We'll go normal supports this time so you can see what they look like. But I would go trees to print that on the Elegoo also. And on the build plate only is the same. Everything will be the same as we did on the Bambu Lab. And when you choose your printer, you also can go in and choose your, let this load for a minute. Taking its time. Here is your printer selection and all the different printers. These are Bambu brands. There's Anchor, Anycubics, Crealities, the Elegoo line, Getek, Prusa, and all these others that you can add to this program so it will work with it. And you just click on the ones and you just add it, and it'll be up here where you can choose it. But anyway, you see these are the only two I have. I'm using 0.4 nozzles. You can set filament use, all the different filaments you can have added here, so you can just choose it, and there's preset settings. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself and probably overloading you if you're newer to 3D printing with what all's going on here, because this stuff you'll have to learn and you'll pick up as you go. But we've got the figure here, we've got supports added because we're going to need them. We do the same thing. We'll go over here, hit slice plate, and it's going to slice it. But there's a difference when you're using not the Bambu printer. and I'll show you as far as my Elegoo goes what I have to do. Elegoo on this screen, you'll see it has a fluid dashboard, and that when you buy the printer, it comes with some software you can load to your printer in your computer, and this is part of that. And you have to use a slicer. I think it came with Elegoo slicer. I've got it on my system somewhere, but I prefer to use the Bambu slicer. That way everything's kind of in one place. I'm getting familiar with one program, and so far it's worked really well. So we've got this sliced, and you can see the difference in a tree and a normal support. And if I'm having these supports didn't go up and support the horn here, and I'd really rather it do support that. Let's see, default on build plate only. Let's see what happens if we remove on build plate only. And now let's slice it again. You can go in and manually add supports up to those horns if you want to. That's something that would be a whole nother video. But let's just see if it'll put some up there if it's not just on the build plate. But you can see these touch the build plate. Now these are touching the figure itself, and they break off, and they break off pretty clean. Okay, it did support the horns. So you see the difference there? It's actually supporting those horns. And I would say that the printer can actually make that curve there without needing supports, and this program thinks that it can too. But now you need to get that to the Elegoo, and you can't print. You can't see up here it's gray. You can't hit print and it go. But if you hit that down button, you can hit export G-code file, and it puts the export G-code file up there or up here. Click that, and then you're going to pick your location. I'm just going to put it on the desktop. If you want to rename it to where you can find it easier, I mean, you could just go this. Let's just take that EDC out, and I'll put my name right there. Or it's a little yak, so I'm just going to put a yak, and we're going to save it. So that down here it says it exported successfully. So I've already got the Elegoo Neptune Pro 4 is turned on. This is connected to it. I actually have a cable running from my system to that printer. And we'll go to our desktop, and you can see the yak is right here. And we'll just drag it down here to jobs. And it's putting everything into the jobs. And you can see right here, yak. You would click on that, and you would hit print, and it would send it to the printer, and it would start printing. You can go up in here. When I start out, I always change my speed, which is right here, and I go down to 50%, hit enter, and I always double check that on my control panel on the machine too, because I always start out slow, and sometimes I'll run the whole thing on 50% depending on how involved it looks. But that's how you would get it sent to the Elegoo machine using the Bambu Studio program that you use for the Bambu Lab A1. So I hope that helped you kind of figure out some of the differences. You know, I haven't found a way to just send it to the printer without using this on the Elegoo, but with the Bambu Lab, which this is made for Bambu Labs, you can just send it straight to it, hit print, and it'll start. Same with from your app on your phone, find what you want, send it to printer straight from your phone, and go. Okay, now let's talk about some of the similarities to the printers, and some of the things you have to do if you want good prints. And that the main similarity is the build plate. You want to keep the build plate clean. I take them off. They're magnetic. You just pop it up. And what I do is I take it and I spray some Dawn Power Wash on it. And I spray Dawn Power Wash directly on it. And I take my fingers and I just scrub it. Now since I touched this, I'm going to have to rewash it because I probably got some of the oils off my fingers. But when you're using the Power Wash, that takes care of those oils on your fingers. And I rub it real good. And then I start rinsing it off under the water while I'm rubbing it. And as I'm rubbing it, you can feel when it starts getting grippy on your fingertips. And I just move down, give it a final rinse. Then I take some alcohol and a rag and I wipe it down. And then I place it back on the machine. And you want to make absolutely sure you don't have anything that gets in between your plate and this table. And on the Bambu Labs, there's guides back here that'll help guide you. This is all magnetic. And see, I got it crooked. I'm normally standing up when I do this. Alright, let's stand up. I push back. I'm lifting it up, down in the back, hitting all the guides, and then I go down. And that's good enough there. I believe I'm off of the... Yeah. And since I've touched that plate all over, that's got to be washed before I print anything because the oils may keep your first layer from sticking to the plate. And the same thing here, this is magnetic. It just pops up. One thing you'll notice is the Elegoo plate is thinner than that plate. And it don't have as many guides. Of course, you want to make sure there's nothing in between your build plate and the plate. And you just try to line it up. I'm not quite where I need to be, but I'll fix it later. And the same thing, I'll wash this plate after I've touched it and make sure there's no oils on it. So that's the same on both these machines. The build plate, you know, keeping that build plate clean and nothing in between the table and the plate is very important. Another thing that's similar to them is you have to use some machine grease, machine oil to keep them lubed up every so often. And you know, this table has bearing rollers underneath it that run on the slides, so you keep those lubed. There's a slide up here. This is wheels. You keep all of that lubed up. There's gears, rod drive back here with bearings that you lube. There's wheels here that you lube. And the same with this, you got a slide that you keep lube. Slides on the table you lube. Gear drives in here that you lube. You can see I need to clean mine because they're dirty. That's the same on both of them. I've been using PLA most of the time. I have a printer with PETG. PLA will do a lot of your stuff. And this one is easy. I haven't made any adjustments on this printer since I've had it. I mean, it just prints good. I haven't changed the nozzle. I've done nothing to it other than normal maintenance as far as keeping it clean and lubing it. This one is a different story. I had the hot end come loose up in this head not long after I had it, and I couldn't get it to print for nothing. I finally figured out that the screws came loose. Once I tightened them back up, it started printing fine. You have wheels underneath this table. You have to level it. The first thing I would do once you get this thing put together is measure your distance from this side. This goes up and down, but measure from here to the bottom of your machine. Same on this side, and make sure you are dead level. You can loosen up here. I removed the belt, and you can twist that to go up and down a little bit, and then put your belt back on. It may not be the best way to get that level, but it worked for me, and I've only had to do that one time. The rest of your adjustment is getting your axes your bed level. And that's where these wheels come in. It'll adjust each corner up and down. I screwed them down to where the table was pretty low on all four corners. And then you take a piece of paper and you'll put in between the nozzle and the table, and you'll get a feel. You slide that paper in and out, and you want it to drag a little bit, and that's how you get each of your corners level. Use some stuff in the program to manual level, auto level. This will also auto level. That's something you'll pick up, you'll learn as you're getting in 3D printing. I'm just trying to print quality. Some of these I've already been working on painting. This hawk I printed on the Elegoo, and it turned out really well. Let's see. I printed her on the Bambu Lab A1. That's multicolored filaments. I used the AMS. It automatically, changed. No, I'm sorry, I didn't. I used a multicolor filament. The Joker. I believe I printed the Joker on the Elegoo. I had to look back at some of my previous videos and see what it printed on. I'm not absolutely sure, but and I've got Batgirl, there's Batman, Deadpool, Iron Man. I printed him on Elegoo, and I had problems with my trees not staying in place. You'll learn there are some things when you have a tree break. I take a hot end, like soldering iron, and if I'll pause the print, I'll take that soldering iron and I'll melt that tree back together where it broke. And that saved this print, but it still has stuff I need to go fix. But it turned out pretty decent. I've been working on the paint job, but I still have places I have to go in and, with a soldering gun, I'll go in and kind of remold the places that are messed up. But it turned out pretty nice. Let's see. I printed this guy on the Elegoo, and I also had tree problems. Now that's not printer problems, this is in the programming. Lately, I don't know if Bambu changed something in the program or what, but I've had some issues with the trees, and I've had to swap to, if I'm using trees, I have to swap to strong trees or normal supports. I should have used normal supports on this, but I used trees and I had some break, and it caused a mess up here. This is actually supposed to be probably another 1/4 inch material in between the hand and this arm, but I caught it where it messed up. I took my soldering iron and I glued the tree back together, added some more filament and just kind of melted it on there so it would strengthen it. And I did go ahead and I was able to get this printed. I have part of this that didn't print right, so I'm gonna go in there and I'll fix that with my hot iron to make it look the same on both sides. These horns are supposed to be longer. Supports broke off, so the horns only printed to here, but I can take my hot iron and I can melt these and shape them and form them the way I want it to form, and it'll be good enough. But I mean, it did really good. The Elegoo does real good. You can see the chain link. Y'all may not, but there's a bag of the baby's faces on it. But the Elegoo prints really good once you get all the settings right. This is one I printed on the Bambu Lab. and the detail is exceptional, really good. But I didn't realize it when it was printing, but undoubtedly we had some tree issues because there's supposed to be a leg right here. That leg didn't print. I'm just going to say it got shot off during battle because the rest of it is excellent. Maybe when I paint it, I'll paint a little blood and stuff down here. And that's another thing. Some of these you can use your AMS and you can get the different colors on your print from the AMS. You don't have to paint it. The problem with that is, I don't know if y'all can see over here or not. There's a box right here. And when this thing changes colors, it'll ooze out extra filament here, and then this little flipper will flip it into this waste box. Some of that's trees I broke off, but it's little chunks. It'll break off and it'll shoot it over there. So you end up with a lot of waste. And in my opinion, sometimes it's easier just to paint them. Okay, when you're printing a bookmark, you can see there's two different colors in this. We got black and white, and on this one we have white and red. So I believe when this one printed, what this machine did, this was laying like this with the red up. On the back it's white. So what it did is it laid down, I think this one, okay, on that one it laid down white, I think it laid down some red, and then it finished the white. I'm not really sure on that one because this is a smooth texture. This is a rough texture. You see it's black on the back side. Now on it laid down the black, all of the black first. Then it swapped colors to the white, and it did all the white. So there was only one swap. But this one, I think there was several color changes to keep it all level, because you have to keep the white level and the red level. You know, you do the white, oh, there's some red. I'm not actually sure, I didn't watch it do that, but I'm pretty sure there was more than one color change. So you're going to have a little bit of waste that comes in there, but not a lot, and the detail is exceptional. And there's no way I could paint that good. So there are advantages to the AMS. And I don't see any color prints that I have up there. Oh yes, I do. Here's an example of color change. Okay, here's an example of using the AMS. I believe I had two colors. I had this gray, and then I had a color changing filament, which all these pinks, greens, was in one row. It was a color shifting filament. So that was 2 rows. Actually, I think it was 3 rows. I think this blue was a 3rd row. And it comes out awesome using the AMS like this. Hopefully y'all can see that. This is an example of just using one filament that's multiple colors. It shifted as it printed it. This is another example of a silk, needs dusted off, but of a shimmery multicolor filament that printed this dragon. Also, something that I ran into is different brands of your filament. Sometimes these holes are different sizes. You can get filaments that will fit right on this, perfect, and then you may have filament that you need an adapter sleeve because the hole's bigger. And this was on Bambu. I just printed them on the printer. In fact, all of these I printed on the Elegoo. And this one is even threaded. So I'm getting long-winded, you know, probably lost you on a lot of this, but I just want to show you that looking at stuff I printed, you can't tell the difference of the quality from the Bambu A1 to the Elegoo. The quality looks good. I have to look at past videos to remember what I printed off of which printer. And so as far as one printing better than the other, I'm not going to say the Bambu Lab prints better than the Elegoo, because if you have everything set right on the Elegoo, it prints just as good. But that's the problem, or the difference. You have to do adjustments, and you have to make sure this is all set up right, to where so far this is just plug and play, and I haven't had to make any adjustments. And I'm not saying I'm not going to. Things can change, and you can have to go in there and make some adjustments. And you know, if you're changing, say you want to change your nozzle out to print something different, you can take that 4 out and put a 2 in. So there's things that you do have to do to maintain them, and change stuff up depending on what you're printing. But as far as not having, the less user involvement is going to be the Bambu. More user involvement is going to go in Elegoo. If you like, and that's me, I like learning how to get that distance, Z and Z, the distance in between your nozzle and the table, to get that filament to stick and adjust it and get this all level. That is right up my alley. That interests me. I think it's fun. But there's times I just want something to, hey, I want to print it and go. And that's where this is coming in very handy. I just find my print, pretty much send it, and I can go with it. I have had tree failures on this. I have had issues with some of the prints that I found, and I needed to go into the PC program and change the ports up and stuff like that. But most of the stuff, I'm going to say 97% of the stuff that I pulled off of Bambu Handy to print, printed with no issues. I'm not going to say that's going to be every print, because sometimes you just need to go in and make some changes. I do have a filament dryer. We're in Texas, and to be honest, I have used it, but I just really haven't had any issues with wet filament. In my climate right now, it's really not something that I think I needed. I did make a vent system, and you can find I've got a vent box back there that you can hook hose to each end. It has a closable vent on top. It's behind these printers. It sucks air. I'm not getting anything toxic off this, but it still helps to suck that air. And I have a box, a dual PC fan box that I designed. It's on Maker World. It goes under the window and it shoots the air outside, and then it comes on around and hooks up to the back of this. It's I don't know that y'all can see it, but it's where I airbrush stuff, and it sucks the fumes through a filter, through those tubes, and out the window. And I can close off this box, so all the suction will go to this box when I'm airbrushing. But you can find that stuff on Maker World and print it if you want to get something to kind of vent the air out of your room. I'll be covering more on these printers, and I'll eventually do a video showing you how to set this up and get this bed level, and how to figure out how to get your distance between your nozzle and your table right. So that'll be in a future video. Maybe it'll help y'all if y'all decide you want an Elegoo. But the whole reason I did this video, and I got way carried away, because I just want to give y'all kind of some idea of what you're getting into if you buy a printer. This is the printer to get if you don't want to be involved in learning how to do all of it. Because I forgot how long we've had this, but I printed a lot of stuff on this. I haven't tightened any belts, which you will have to do. I haven't had to replace any belts if they break. Can happen. I haven't had to adjust any level on anything. It's just punch it in and go. Maybe I've been lucky. I have had a little bit of problem with the feeder pushing this filament through. I think it builds up with dust and you need to blow them out, and it seems like after I did that they start working good again. But other than that, I haven't had any problem with the AMS. I do highly recommend the AMS if you get the Bambu Labs A1. Even if you're not doing prints that have multiple colors, it's easy to have some colors loaded up and okay, I want to print this black or I want to print this white, and you can just choose it in the program and you don't have to worry about coming over here loading up a filament. Now on this, if you have both, the way I use this external spool is I'll run the material through here, through this tube, and I just undo one of these tubes from the AMS, and then I plug this in there and tell this to use the external spool, and it does it. You know, it knows what color it is and so forth and so on. Let me think real quick before I sign off here, because I said this video is going to be long. I will do some more videos about the machines. Go back and look at some of our other videos, because I've got a bunch of time lapses of us printing stuff, and a lot of the musics to those time lapses I actually helped put together, so they have their own custom soundtrack to go with what we printed. And I'll grab y'all and I just kind of scan some of these things we printed. It's not everything we printed, because we had totes full of stuff too. But I'll show you some of the stuff we printed, and some of it we painted, some of it we haven't painted, and let y'all see what you can do once you get a 3D printer. And this is just a small drop in the bucket. So let's do that real quick, and then I'm going to sign off, and hopefully I helped y'all make a decision on what printer you're wanting to get. And I do plan on getting some different type printers later on down the road, and I actually need a printer that can has a bigger table than this. Now that's something else on my Elegoo. Here, let me move these. On my Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro, this is the plate for it, and when you can see the size difference. You got, let's get, if I can get it down there, about an inch each way bigger on the Bambu than you do on this Elegoo. So keep that in mind. My height on the Elegoo, I'm pretty sure I can go a little bit taller print than I can on the Bambu Lab A1. So that's something else to keep in mind. Most of the stuff I found on Maker World, I can print on the shorter height, no problem. You can adjust. Say you have something that's this big and you want it that big, you can adjust the percentage to make it a bigger print if you want to. So there's options that you can do even with the prints. But I'm going to just kind of scan some of this stuff, and then I'm going to get off here. If y'all have any questions, just make a comment in the comments, and I'll keep an eye on them, and if I can answer them, I will. But yeah, if you want a user-friendly first printer, this Bambu Lab A1 is awesome. If you don't mind being a little more involved and you like tinkering with stuff, then you could get the Elegoo Neptune 4 Pro or whatever, a different type. But as far as a first printer, I would get this. And a lot of people say the A1 Mini, it's a smaller printer. Once you get to printing, you're going to print bigger stuff. Just go ahead and spend the extra money and get at least the A1. I'd skip right over that Mini. I'm sure it has its place, but not for me. So I'm going to show y'all some stuff, and we're going to get off here. Here's some shelves that we printed. This was 2 pieces. I printed the little lamb and then the octopus looking thing. I still need to do some cleanup on the paint job. Another shelf up here. from the alien video. You see up there is part of the alien. It's another alien. There's a mask I printed. I printed that on the Elegoo. I printed this mask on the A1. And then those turtles were on the A1. We got a dice tower. We've got a dragon. There's some creatures. So there's some more shells over here. Got some that's not painted. Some that are painted. Not painted. I plan on painting them. But there's just a lot you can do. There's my vent box back there. It runs out the window to that box. You can get that on Make a World, print it yourself if you want. And paint stations over here. Using the A1 airbrush system. It works. I do have different airbrushes. Plan on buying some more expensive ones, but they get the job done for now. But I'm gonna let y'all go. Highly recommend getting you a printer. There's a lot of stuff that you can make, and it's just a fun hobby. It's neat to be able to make some of this stuff. Now, we don't sell any of it. It's all just my hobby and stuff that I'm printing for me, my collections. But man, it's a lot of fun. I do know there's a lot of people that do make money off stuff, but I'm not getting into the logistics of, you know, the licensing and all that kind of stuff you gotta do for the prints, and there's a lot to it. But as far as printing for a home hobby, get you a printer, start having fun. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button while you're here. We surely appreciate that. It's a newer channel, and we'd like to get it monetized to help us buy more filament. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and get you some of these for Christmas gifts. People that's into doing crafts and stuff like that would love having a 3D printer. Great Christmas present.